Hello guys, once again it's Matt and today we have another video. Thank you all the members, all the patrons. Make sure to subscribe. We're trying to hit 50,000 until the end of the year. And let's get going, guys. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the probable aircraft that are coming for all the nations in a soonish future. What do I mean about a soonish future? Probably some of these aircraft, and maybe a lot of them, we will see during this year or next year. And yeah, just a list of aircraft that you can expect fairly soon on the upcoming patches. Some of them earlier, some of them later, but all of them are probably going to be added at some point in the soonish future, okay? Of course, there are some other aircraft after this that can come, especially in the 90s and 2000s, but we're not going to get too much into that. And even some in the 80s and stuff that are probably too advanced for now. But in the future, we can kind of see them coming as well. But I'm not going to mention them. I'm just going to mention aircraft that can come right now or in the soonish future. Okay, guys? So let's get going. You're going to go through all the countries, starting with the US. The US, obviously, I think there are two aircraft that are the most likely to come in the soonish future. In the fighter department, which are more advanced F-16s, like the F-16C Block 25 upwards. So, for example, the Block 25, Block 30, Block 32, Block 40, 42, aircraft like that. Probably not the Block 40 or 42 for now, but the 25, the 30, or the 32, they can come fairly soon. It would not have that many stuff, and even it was one of the first majorly massively used F-16 by the US service that actually got PVR. So yeah, it would have a little bit more in the. It's still an 80s aircraft, right? The engines are a little bit better if it is used on the Block 30, but that's subject to depending on the situation of the engine, on the sense of military power or afterburner or anything like that. But in general, the Block C, the F-16Cs, they will have a better radar, which will help with the Sparrows, and later even the AIM-120s if it's ever added, you know. And of course, AIM-9Ls, maybe AIM-9Ms if the R-73 is added. So it would be just an overall better F-16 with better weaponry, better ground capabilities, pods and other things to help it. So yeah, very good. And then obviously the second one is the F-15, the F-15A or C. With early and late models, we can see an F-15A early with only like AIM-7Es, and which I doubt, but still, or AIM-7Fs and AIM-9Ls, you know, and then have a late version with better stuff. I don't know. I would imagine that they will add the A first and add it like a late 70s version, one of the later ones. Probably with the AIM-7F and the AIM-9L only, and then add the F-15C afterwards with the AIM-7M, AIM-9M, and other better weaponry. Maybe the MSIP, I think it's called, upgrade on the F-15C. So yeah, but not at first. I think at first, on the soonish future, we will see probably the F-15A. Because they don't jump versions, basically. They like to add the first version and they go from there, right? On the Navy kind of side of things, we can see a late variant of the F-15A. I don't think in the soonish future we will see the B variant because it's a late 80s version, so maybe, I don't know, but probably not. I do think that we are still in the early 80s, so we probably will see stuff from the early 80s, and maybe some of them from the 90s, but just aircraft that are, for example, the F4FIs, for example, that it doesn't have really a time frame on the 80s, right? So yeah, the F-15A late with just a better weaponry, some other types of systems and upgraded systems like RWRs and the forgot the name of the system, but that a little scope that the F-14 has under the nose as well. You know, it can receive things like that, but especially the weaponry, it can receive the AIM-54C, which would be a little bit better in the tracking department than the A. And also the AIM-7M, the AIM-9L or M, if they are going to add that. So yeah, it would be like a middle of the 80s or early 80s version of the F-14A. So yeah, very cool. Or even the F-18A. I mean, the first variants, it would not be that OP, even though it's a very good aircraft. It's not a Super Hornet, obviously. So, I mean, it would be comparable to the MiG-29 in the sense of power and turning capabilities and stuff. So it would be, I think it would be even a better counter to the MiG-29 than even the F-16. But still, it is an aircraft that has an amazing radar. It has ground radar, maybe it's added as well. And it would be able to do anti-ship. So yeah, that can be added as well. It was introduced in the middle of the 80s, so yeah, a little bit later than these other aircraft, but still. Then of course, some of the other aircraft that might not be tier rank 8. Obviously, the A6E it is already a premium aircraft. We probably will see very soon a version for the Tech 3, maybe even next patch. The A10C, also another aircraft that we already have the A variant. So in the soonish future, we might see a more modernized version of the A10. I don't think it's going to be like next couple of patches, but in a soonish future, I think this year or next year, we'll probably see the A10C. And of course, the F-111. I still think that probably next patch we will see an F-111 or something like that, or the A6. One of them at least will be coming, in my opinion. So yeah, the F-111 is another aircraft. So yeah, this is for the US. A lot of aircraft. Of course, it's one of the most producing aircraft nations ever. So yeah. Germany, of course, I think there's two that we cannot not mention, right? I think that's a double negative, but still. The obvious one is the MiG-29 912A. It would be very, very similar to the MiG-29 913 that we have in the Soviet Union. It probably would not use the R-70 27ER. It didn't use it in real life, but maybe they can add it. I don't know. R-73s and R-60Ms would be in that, and the normal R-27s as well. The radar is in the same sense of the game. It is the same. It will have a little bit less fuel, and if they ever add ECM onto the game, it would not have ECM while the Soviet would have it. So that would be the main difference, but it would be a little bit lighter as well, and overall just a very, very similar aircraft. So yeah, that's probably coming next patch, right? And obviously another aircraft that might be coming is the F4F ICE. The ICE upgrade package for the F4F, I think it's going to be another aircraft. I don't think it's going to be the same aircraft as the normal F4F that we already have. You probably would get AIM-9Ls, AIM-9Ms, maybe, I don't know if they ever used, and the AIM-120. So yeah, I don't think they will ever get the AIM-120 for now, because we do have the JA-37D and it doesn't have the RB-99, which is the AIM-120B. So I guess they can add the F4F ICE with just the AIM-9s, and maybe in the radar of the F-18, which has the APG-65, right? And also maybe Sparrows. There are some manuals that says that it can carry, so it might be able to carry Sparrows. So that would be very interesting as well, as a stopgap until we receive the AIM-120, right? So yeah, for the Germans, I think this is the two aircraft they can receive. They never use the Tornado ADV, so yeah, basically that's it. Basically that's it, even until the Eurofighter, right? So yeah, for the USSR, we have a lot of aircraft as well. Let's cover a little bit of them. The obvious one is the MiG-29S or the 913S or 912S, which would be just an upgraded version of the 913 that we have already in game. The main feature of this version would be basically the same aircraft, but with more modern stuff, especially the radar. The radar had better overall ECCM and just a better overall range and reliability and stuff. But the main thing was the ability to carry the R-77. It is a 1984 version technically, right? The prototypes, I think. But it was introduced around 1987, so it's a little bit later than the other ones. But still, it was able to carry the R-77. If they ever add the AIM-120, they will add the R-77 for the MiG-29S, right? Another aircraft that a lot of people is waiting for is the Su-27S. It is the first and the main version of the basic Su-27. So yeah, it would use the R-27ERs and ETs, R-73s. The N001 radar could be upgraded to use the R-77. but initially it didn't have it. So it can receive the R-77 in the future as well. But I mean, this upgrade was like in the late 90s or middle of the 90s. But still, it was an aircraft that was massively produced around 1986. They already had 200 of them. I mean, compared to the thousands of the MiG-29 that he had. I mean, 1,000 around that time. The numbers were kind of low compared to it. But still, it's an aircraft that was massively produced. And it was one of the main PVO and VVS fighters of that time. So it must come when the F-15 comes as well. Then obviously some attackers, Su-25T or TM can be an upgraded version of the Su-25, is always nice. Or even the Su-25 SM or SM3, which would be like 2015 versions of the Su-25, which would have thermals and other stuff, and it would be very similar to the normal in the characteristics of flight and stuff. So yeah, very cool. And obviously, since I told you guys about the F-111, the Su-24 as well. I think it's probably coming next patch or very soon. Of course, there are some others, especially in their interceptor roles. If they ever add an interceptor line for the Soviets, we can see the Su-15, the MiG-25, the MiG-31, and aircraft like that. But for now, we are probably not going to see that. For the UK, the Tornado F-380V, obviously, I already talked a lot about this aircraft, so I'm not gonna get too much into it, but it is the air defense version of the Tornado. Fox Hunter radar, amazing, even better than the initial radar on the F-15. So it is very, very good on the BVR with the Super Temp Skyflash 6000. You will be able to hit targets in similar ranges to the AIM-7F or M, so it would be very, very cool. And obviously more modernized versions of the IDS as well for the UK. So the Tornado GR4, for example, with better weaponry and better performance in the engines and stuff. So yeah, it would be very, very cool to see that. For Japan, F-15J, I mean, it is basically an early F-15C. It was heavily upgraded throughout the years, so we can see like an early version with just Fox 1s, and then a late version with Fox 3s in the far future, even before we see the F2, the Mitsubishi F2. I don't think the Mitsubishi F2 is coming anytime soon. So Japan probably getting the F-15J fairly soon when the US get the F-15, probably when the USSR gets the Su-27, or maybe even before, I don't know. Japan is one of those unique ones that can receive before the other ones, I think. For the Chinese, the obvious one is a better version of the J8. I think it's probably coming very soon. And probably the Su-27 SK when the Soviets get. This is basically the export version of the Su-27. So when the Soviets get the Su-27 and when the Americans get the F-15, the Chinese can get the Su-27 SK. In the future, when we get stuff like Fox 3 missiles, we can get the J-11A, which is a domestically built version of that Su-27 SK. They can also get Fox 3 missiles, so that would be very interesting in the future as well. But initially, just the Su-27K SK with just normal R-27s and R-73s. For the Italians, I don't think it's coming like next patch, but the Tornado ADV as well, the air defense version. They already have the normal Tornado IDS and they have the F-16A. I doubt that we will see the ADV soon. But yeah, it is another aircraft that the Italians can receive. For France, basically nothing. They already got what they can for the 80s, basically. The only aircraft that I can think of that is really needed is the Super-Étendard for anti-ship and stuff. So maybe that's coming. Or maybe a new version of the F-8E with better weaponry for a better high tier. Because it was used until the Rafale substituted it in the Navy, so yeah. But still, in the general sense of fighters and rank 8, nothing. Basically nothing. In the far future, obviously the Mirage 2005F, but that's Fox 3s and stuff. I doubt that we will see for now. Probably next year on the bare minimum, but it's probably going to take a while. Once it's added for France, China can also receive that as well. For Sweden, almost nothing, to be honest. I think the only aircraft that it's probably coming fairly soon, especially with the anti-ship missiles being added and anti-radiation missiles, is the AJS-37. It would be just a better version of the AJ-37 they already have. what we already have, with better weaponry and better missiles and better stuff. But probably nothing beyond that for now, with anti-ship and stuff. In the far future, like next year at least, we can see a Gripen A version with just sky flashes, because technically in the manual it can carry sky flashes. So maybe that's added, but I really doubt it. I still think that they will wait until we get the A120 to actually add the Gripen A with the RB99. And the last nation, to wrap it up this video because it's already too long, it is Israelis, obviously very similar to the US. So F-16Cs, they only used the 30 onwards, so the Block 30s onwards, so they didn't use the Block 25, and neither a ADF, Block 15 or something like that. So yeah, it's probably going to receive an F-16C together with the US. And then obviously the F-15A or Cs as well, they both they were used both by the Israelis. In the future we can see more advanced versions of the F-15, but for now early versions like these from the 80s would be fine. And obviously the last one, the F-4E Kurnas 2000, I think it's an aircraft that was kind of leaked already, and it's probably coming. It's going to serve a similar purpose as an J-37D, and probably connecting the F-4E Kurnas that we have in game to the F-15 in the future. So yeah, maybe we can see that version. It would be very cool with better missiles and just being a top tier third generation aircraft that can be very dangerous. So yeah, this is what I think is going to come in the soonish future for every nation. In the soonish future, as I said, I mentioned during this year probably, and some of them next year. I don't think they're all going to come this year because it's a lot of aircraft that I told you guys about, but it has the possibility, right? So that would be basically it. Okay guys, let me know in the comments what you think. It is coming soon or sooner than this or anything like that, what we need in the game or not. And yeah guys, basically this is it. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe, and I see you guys on the next one. So bye guys, see you.